Thank you everyone for joining this webinar on the Global Flex Online MBA here at MSM. This webinar aims to answer all the questions that you previously submitted, but also give you a bit more background information on our program. If you do have any questions, we'd really appreciate it if you could use the Q&A function in Zoom, as this allows us to keep control of the questions coming in and answer you in the best way possible. We'll have moments throughout the presentation where we will actually answer some of the questions, and we also have a Q&A portion at the end if there are any questions remaining. So feel free to drop them in the Q&A box if you do have any. Then, of course, you're very curious to hear who's doing this webinar today. So please allow us to introduce ourselves. My name is Wessel. I am one of the Enrollment and Communications Officers here at MSM. So as the recruitment part, I take care of the application process. So mostly I'll be your first point of contact if you have any questions about the program, the tuition fees, scholarships, anything related to the program. And then today I'm joined with Mirjana. Would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, my name is Mirjana Stanisic. I am a faculty member, actually a lecturer here at Maastricht School of Management, but also academic coordinator of the online program, a Global Flex Online program. So I would be joining this program, of course, throughout the whole process as in the process of preparation and then further on in enrollment of the program itself. So I am actually working mostly behind the scene for you, but I am in a good contact with all the lecturers and making sure that our curriculum and all the exercises and the structure of the program and further on is really in order, and it's really giving a good head start for all the students to learn in the MBA program.
All right, very nice. Thank you for joining me today. Then I think we'll take a quick look at the agenda so everyone knows what we're going to be discussing. I'll start off this webinar with some general information about MSM and the Global Flex Online MBA program, after which we'll move on to Mirjana, who will talk about the program structure and the learning environment. And then we'll round things off with the application process and our Q&A section. So once again, if you have any questions, drop them in the Q&A box and we'll make sure to answer them throughout the webinar. Then I think we can get started. General information about MSM and our Global Flex Online MBA. So very good to know. One thing that sets MSM apart from other business schools is that we've been around for a while. MSM is actually one of the oldest business schools in the Netherlands, founded in 1952. So we've already celebrated our 70th year anniversary, which is amazing. And I think throughout those years, we've gathered a lot of different students from all different countries. Since 2018, we have over 90 nationalities who have been in our classrooms. So it's very nice to see the diversity that we find here at MSM. As a joiner of the online MBA, you will definitely focus on the sustainability mindset, which is very much a core of our program. And we also try to create a very personalized hands-on experience when you join our classrooms online. So that is something that you will definitely find throughout the program and that you will hopefully experience. And even after you have graduated from the MBA program, you will join our alumni network. We have a very extensive alumni network of over 20,000 alumni who we are still in contact with and get in touch with on the regular. And the best thing about the program, I would say, is that even after you have finished, you get the same degree as an on-campus MBA. So you still get that MBA degree, which is recognized worldwide due to our Triple Crown accreditation, which is always very good to mention. Some quick facts about the Global Flex Online MBA program. Our program is fully in English. It's a part-time program, which means you get some flexibility in the time it takes to complete the program. You can complete it within 2 years, but if you have some other things going on, for example, it's very busy at work, you might have some priorities that you need to take care of, then you're able to take a little bit longer to complete the program, up to 4 years total time. I already mentioned the Triple Crown accreditation, which is very important here. And the Global Flex Online MBA actually has 3 different starting dates. The first one being in January, which is already very soon. We'll talk about that a little later on in the webinar. And then we have 2 other moments to start in May and in August 2024 as well. The actual online tracks and specializations, Mariana will talk about a little bit later on in the webinar. Then to answer some of the questions that we previously received from you guys, the first one being, what does the class profile look like for the Global Flex Online MBA? Which is a very good question, and something that we like to pride ourselves on at MSM as well, because each of our cohorts are actually composed of different types of study backgrounds, career profiles, countries and nationalities, as we previously mentioned, which creates a nice international environment within the classroom, even if it's an online classroom. And we actually already gathered some information on the January intake, and we can give everyone a sneak peek. So far, we already have over 10 nationalities who actually applied for the January intake. They are all different ages, and they come from numerous different industries and have a mix of different study backgrounds. So already, even though we're not fully there yet, there's already such a diversity and international atmosphere within that classroom. So definitely something to look forward to. Then when it comes to our teaching methods, I already touched on this a little bit in the introduction on MSM, but within our online MBA, we try to keep a very practical approach to our teaching methods. We act a lot on case-based learning. So throughout the classes, you get different types of cases that you work on. You work in groups a lot, so there will be a lot of discussions, a lot of collaboration, a very interactive environment instead of just sitting in the classroom and hearing the theory. You're also actually applying that theory in that case-based learning approach, which we always think is very nice and very important as well. Then another question we received refers to MSM's career services. So someone asked, do we have access to MSM's career services, even though we are joining an online program? And the short answer is yes. At the start of your program, you will definitely receive presentations on career services from our Career Service Center, on all the things that they can offer everyone throughout their online MBA experience. And the workshops that are organized for the full-time MBAs on campus, some of them will also be organized online. And if those are organized online, then of course you will be able to join those as well. And definitely very important. As I mentioned, after you graduate, you join our Global Alumni Network, which has a lot of fun events and a lot of different things going on for it as well. So even after you graduate, you will still be in touch with MSM and talk to everyone that you've previously met. And then another question we received refers to the tuition fee. So someone asked, what is the tuition fee for the Global Flex Online MBA? Very valid question, very good question. Generally, the full tuition fee for the Global Flex Online MBA is 28,500 euros. This is without any scholarships, so the full tuition fee, and we'll get onto scholarships a little later on. And then, of course, there's also an application fee, which you have to pay in order to submit and fully complete your application. So once you get into the application portal and you've uploaded all your documents, afterwards you will pay the application fee, and then it will be submitted to the admissions office. So that's full tuition fees. Of course, an MBA is a very costly experience. You get a lot of value for the money that you put in, but we can imagine that it might be difficult in some situations, which is also why MSM aims to offer you some scholarships to help you with that financial aspect. So a very valid question, do you offer any scholarships? We do offer several scholarships here at MSM. Depending on eligibility, we have several options you can choose from, and you can actually choose to combine these scholarships. So it's not a single scholarship that you can apply for, you can combine them. Very important to mention that I really want to make clear is that you can actually benefit from the prices of the 2023 intake if you apply and get admitted before the end of this year. So let's say you were to finish your application either somewhere next week, then you would still be able to follow that natural application process and be admitted before the end of this year if all goes well. And in that case, the scholarship discount that you can get will be a little bit higher. So if you apply and get admitted before the end of this year, the maximum discount will be 40%, excluding the Women Ambassadorship Scholarship and the Academic Excellence Scholarship. And then as of January 1st, 2024, the total discount that you can receive for scholarships is 20%. So that's why it's very important that if you already have decided on following this Global Flex Online MBA, that you get your application in as soon as possible to still benefit from those old prices. And also very important to mention that we receive a lot of questions about is some people might ask, okay, I want to join the January intake. Do I have to pay the full tuition fee before the start of the program in order to still benefit from the old prices? And the answer to that question would be no. We don't expect you to pay the full 28,500 before the end of this year in order to secure a spot, but we usually work with a down payment on the net tuition fee. So you would usually pay a down payment, and then before the start of the program, you pay the rest of the tuition fee. So that still gives you some flexibility in gathering the finances to start the program. Mariana, you're on mute, I think.
I am now not muted. I'm looking a bit in a Q&A, yeah? So I'm following up on the questions, and there is a question when we talk about the tuition fee, yeah? And you are mentioning there is a possibility to pay it in a certain installments. Well, actually, the question is, how is the payment of the tuition fee organized within that duration of the course of a 2 years program? Can you maybe explain that? Because that's exactly the question that we have in the Q&A.
Exactly. Yeah, I can imagine that since it's such a long program, you might be very curious how this payment works. And that is something that the admissions office will look with you together to establish a specific payment plan that works for you. So for the Global Flex Online MBA, it's also possible to pay in installments throughout several months to not have to pay the full tuition fee at once, right? Is that something that would answer that question, or?
Well, I hope it will. Anyway, I do believe if there will be a more detailed question or there is a need for a follow-up on a certain topic, there is a possibility to write an email or how that works. I am not really, so it's nice for me to hear that as well. But I believe also for our participants would
Exactly.
be
So
needed to hear.
if you do have any other questions related to your specific situation, payment of the tuition fee, anything related to the program, you can always contact us. Our information will also be linked at the end of the webinar. And we will be happily answering any of your questions. We can do it via email, or we can even schedule a Zoom call if that's better for you. But of course, we're always available to answer any questions and look at your specific situation to give the most personalized advice.
Yeah, definitely, because investing a lot of money and the time, not only money. So the financial part is always rather challenging, but I think also a time needs also a bit of a tailored approach. That's what we definitely provide, especially in this period before someone decides to enroll in the MBA study. Sorry, I will not ask anything anymore, but I thought it was a nice moment to really touch upon the same topic. Yeah,
very good. I think that's also why we do it like this, to open up the floor for any questions. If there were any others, then I'm happily answering any of them. And if not, then we'll move on to the next part for you.
Yeah, there was one more question related to the sharing a presentation after the webinar. We share the presentation, but we share even more than that, I think.
After the presentation, everyone who has joined will receive an email with the presentation attached, but also with more information, links to contact details, more information on the website, things like that. So yeah, exactly.
In the end of the presentation, of course, there are all the emails and the contact that you can, how you can make a contact further on. So that's also included towards the end and visible to everybody. So we hope there will be more enrollment in the future. Not only the questions, but we will see anyway.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right.
Wait, there is one more. Can you still use discounts if your company sponsors your MBA?
That's a very good question. I think that should still be possible. I don't think company funding is excluded from the scholarships, but I will definitely check that with the department and see if there's any other things that have to be done related to that, and I will definitely follow up with more information.
Yeah, okay. So I believe we have an access to a contact of the person who did ask the questions. So there will be a follow-up from our side on this particular question.
Yeah, indeed.
Okay.
All right.
Are we finished with this part? So I can go into a
Yes,
content, because I think that's also
exactly.
a program structure. Of course, it's a very important. We can go into a next slide. So what Vessel also mentioned, I think it's very important to know, is that the structure of the curriculum that we have in the Global Flex Online MBA is exactly the same as the one that we have face-to-face or with some other partners that we are teaming up, the partnerships MBA that we have. So the courses, the curriculum itself and the content is definitely exactly the same. So that's very important to know. So you have 18 courses that are structured throughout the course of that 2 years. For example, we have a start here in January. You can see here a nice overview of the complete MBA program, and it's finishing in June 25. So it's actually 1.5 years, but after doing that 18 courses in that period, we have also a part that you allocate approximately 6 months, 4 to 6 months working on your final project or your master thesis. So the curriculum is structured on the following way. We have 18 courses. Out of 18 courses, we have additional, so 14 core courses, as we would say, and we have expertise track, which is also online, but it can be definitely face-to-face. I will come back to that in the next question that was posted. How we organize the Flex Online MBA, we have a structure that each course will take 4 weeks. So actually for us in designing the course, it's actually equal to 4 days of teaching that we do in the classroom. So 1 week for a certain number of topics, and then second, third, and fourth week. So in the course of 4 weeks, you will go through a number of exercises, which we will show also further on, which are supported with the live Zoom based classes that are taking place on Mondays and Thursdays between 7 and 9 p.m. At evening. So I believe many of you are in the same time zone, so that would not really be a problem. So this is that's the Central European zone, let's say. And the participants are, of course, expected to join the classes throughout that each week. That's Mondays and Thursdays between 7 and 9. In a course of 4 weeks, you will go through a number of exercises, and then you will have an extra week. That's like a 5th week where you can start working on your final assignment in order to submit and to get a grade for each course. The structure is exactly the same for each course. It's a very nice flow. Let's say that when you start doing one course and when you see all the exercises that you have, of course, topics are different, the lecturers are different, and we have a very international team of lecturers that are teaching. You will also get along with the complete structure, and you will know what to expect each time when you engage into or when you start a new course. As mentioned here, we have a flexible mixed track. So we combine those live Zoom sessions. And why we have, with of course, the exercises and all the materials that are provided, and why we combine with the Zoom sessions is actually that we want to have a contact with the students, and we want to support our exercises to give a bit of a flavor of the theory or whatever we are teaching the students in this particular course, but additionally to give you a possibility as a student to get along with your teammates, to work on some little group exercises that are planned for those 2 meetings a week. However, all the other assignments are individual, that are assignments that are graded. I will come back to that a bit later. This is more or less on the structure. As Vessel also mentioned, we have carousel type of a carousel setup when we have a group of participants starting in January. Then in April, we will have additional participants coming. So we expect that our group will also grow, which definitely gives additional flavor to the group work, to sharing experiences, to collaboration, to the discussions. So you will get also a bit more engagement with a different people with coming from a different sectors, with a different type of experience, but also having a different experiences themselves as the professionals in a certain field. I think we can go to a next slide. As I mentioned, we have a 14 courses that you will have to finalize throughout your MBA journey. However, for now, we offer one online specialization, that's the sustainable business in the global economy. All the other expertise tracks, I'm calling them specializations, that's the old name. We moved to expertise tracks, so not to confuse you. Expertise tracks are also offered in face-to-face on our campus here in Maastricht. And all the students, even the partner students coming from the partner universities, online students like the Flex MBA students, MBA students, executive MBA students, so everybody are most welcome to join our expertise tracks, which are taking place last 2 weeks of June, usually each year. So you as well as maybe future or our Flex MBA student are also invited to follow the courses that are taking place here in Maastricht. What is the added value? Of course, at one side you can choose for different topics. For now, we have only one online expertise track, sustainable business in the global economy, that is spread throughout your program. It takes place at the end of your first year and at the end of the second year of the study. However, they also take a bit longer period because each course that we have in the Flex MBA track takes a longer time. Hence, it's a 4 weeks plus 1 week for the assignment. Joining the expertise tracks in Maastricht gives you also opportunity to do a bit more condensed study. So all the courses that we have in Maastricht are taking place in a duration of 2 weeks. So actually, if you decide to join any of the courses of the expertise track at Maastricht, you would be saving some time actually. So you could be able to skip the moments when we have exactly those courses online. But that's something that we discuss, of course, and we follow up with all of our students at the beginning. In January, for example, if you decide to join, we will have meetings with me and the support team, and we will have a lot of discussions. We give you a possibility to think about it. So that's nothing that you have to decide now. It's just an additional flavor that we give a chance to all the students to actually come to our campus and to enjoy a bit more than only online program, actually to have a face-to-face contact with the other students, and that's actually really nice. It's a very vibrant in June here in Maastricht, and all the lecturers that are normally engaged in the online program are also teaching. Many of them are also teaching in our face-to-face. We are also traveling and teaching in the partner schools. So that's usually a very nice moment when you can made some friendships and a network with all the other students from different countries and following the same MBA program, but on a different modality, let's say, and from even a different continent, let's say, like that. We can go to a next slide. One of the questions that we received is, when can I access the course and do I need to prepare in advance? Well, that's always the usual question. Now, we offer all the students, we give an access to the courses 1 month before the course would actually start. Now, in the previous webinar, we showed really alive how the Canvas environment looks like, and that's where the Global Flex Online takes place. This is just a snapshot. So if you would like to see a bit more on how exactly that look like alive, you can take a look in some of the previous YouTube videos that we have. This is a snapshot of orientation phase. And that orientation phase is actually very important as for the students, let's say, but for us as the lecturers as well. But we would like to provide all the students 1 month before the course will actually officially start. Let's say we start 22nd of January next year. All the students that already are enrolled will have a possibility to start and to see the course and all the materials in December this year. So 22nd of December, you can open your Canvas and then you can also see information, a welcoming note from your lecturer with a photo so you can visualize how your lecture would look like, learning objectives, how to study the course. And what is also a very nice feature here, I believe, is to that we as the lecturers would be able to get a bit of more information on what you know about the topic. That's why we made one little quiz, what I already know, where there are some generic questions about the topic to orientate ourselves as well, how and what is the knowledge that the students have in the group. But you as a student are also able to ask some questions for the first kickoff Zoom session that will be on Monday, let's say, in a month from the moment that you would be able to enter and to see all the elements of the course. Of course, you are able to browse through all the modules to see all the materials that are there. We don't ask you, of course, to do any exercises yet. So it's a more orientation 1 month in advance. Do you have to prepare something in advance? Well, depends. Some lecturers for some courses do prefer to ask students to read something, and mostly it's reading or answering a couple of questions. It's not a big thing, let's say, but in order to we allow lecturers to have a bit more freedom, let's say. It's also nice that for different courses you have a different lectures but also different approach. So it's not boring actually. So it's not only repetitive constantly. So you will be able to, you will in some courses, of course, get a question from the lecturer to read something in advance. But again, it's really not much. It's maybe an article or maybe 2 articles, or to watch some YouTube videos. That's also sometimes that I know for economics, for example, our faculty member, he asks, please watch those videos, because when I start teaching and when we start doing things together on the Zoom session, I might ask some questions about it. But it's also a nice moment of preparing yourself as well. I think we can go. Yeah, this is again how it looks like. Well, this is just a snapshot of how your environment will look like. Of course, those blocks are decision-making tools, managing cultural diversity. Those are all the courses, and they will start growing on your dashboard because each time when 1 month before the next course would start, you will get another course available to see and to go through it. So this is more or less how it looks like. So you'll get a bit more a feeling on the Canvas environment itself. What are we expected to do throughout the week? And will the Zoom sessions be recorded? What if I miss any? Okay, I answer first the first question. We organized, as I mentioned, weeks, the courses in 4 modules. So one module takes 1 week. So what that actually means, now you can see here in the PowerPoint presentation how module 1 looks like. We have a kickoff Zoom session on Monday, where in this case on the course that is shown here, there is a topic 1 on strategic management and a topic 2 on the firm internal capabilities. So after reading a topic through the chapters of the book, or maybe some other materials that are provided as the research, maybe a research material or research paper that you will have to read, you will be able to activate your knowledge to go to one quiz and to check whether you did learn enough and what is your learning curve for that first topic. Then you go to topic 2, you activate your knowledge again. We have a little explanation about the topic. You will be able to reflect on the topics that you read throughout that week through the discussions. Usually there are discussion questions, so you can also team up with your group members, and we have a little assignment and we say, hey, can you please watch this video? And then maybe we ask some questions that you can reflect on. And in the end, we ask you also to apply what did you learn. So the process in 1 week will be, you will have a Zoom session on Monday where the lecturer will provide you some knowledge about what you will learn for a topic 1. You will then read about it. In the topic 2, you will also be able to read, then to activate your knowledge through checking also yourself how much you know, to reflect on the learnings, but also to apply. And that will be practiced and explained further on the second Zoom session on Thursday evening. So everything that you have prepared in the module, so you have a different type of exercises, of course, it can be discussion, it can be little case study, depends, for each course is a bit different, for each model might also be different, whether it will be discussion, whether it will be watching a video and reflecting on it, whether it will be writing your own answer to a certain questions and as the application. That will be, of course, supported with the lecturer through the Zoom sessions, which are not recorded. I have to say, maybe it can be a disappointment for some of you thinking, well, if I miss one, what will I do? Well, we do expect our participants to come on the Zoom sessions. And we, of course, are aware that sometimes the life can be harsh and sometimes you have to travel because you are all working. So we allow a bit of flexibility of around 25-30% not to come on the Zoom session, just to let to your lecturer to let know that you will not attend. However, if there is a chance that there might be, you can anticipate that you are not able to come or you're not able to, because of your travel, to attend for a week. The lecturer is always there for you to give you a possibility to maybe get a little assignment. And through that assignment, you will catch up all the topics and all the exercises that were additionally given during the Zoom session. We are not recording Zoom sessions because of the privacy issues. That's the rule of the Maastricht University. So that's unfortunately not allowed. However, lecturers are there always to support, and you can always contact them. You can send an email. If there are any questions, there is a complete team behind the Flex MBA. So there is a possibility to receive all the information needed in case you are not able to attend one or more Zoom sessions. I hope I did answer this question. Well, is there an online library for materials, or do I need to purchase? Well, this is again a snapshot of how to study materials actively. Actually, one of the tabs when you start a certain topic is to show how you study materials. There is a bit of a talk about the topic that you will learn. And we always say there is an essential reading. The essential reading in this case, as you can see, are a certain number of articles. And those articles are available through the online library. All the participants of the Flex MBA, and anyway, the MBA here at Maastricht School of Management, they have an access to the online library of the University Maastricht. So unless there is a need to buy a book, we can provide our students all the essential readings and additional readings through the library if it's not an open source, for example, but the books you will have to purchase. Students are receiving information on which course, for example, 2024 in January, you would start. You will receive 1 month before it starts and a complete overview of all the books that you would need to purchase for that year. I can tell you, oh, well, out of my memory, I think we have a number of courses where we don't ask for any books that are based, so all their essential readings are based on the paper, the published papers, let's say, like this one, for example, entrepreneurship, the first course on LOB, leadership and organizational behavior. You don't need to buy a book, but there are a number of courses that, of course, there is a need to purchase a book. Now maybe we can go to another slide. Oh, we don't have any more.
I
I am
think
finished.
that's all for you
Okay.
indeed. We do have some questions from the
Oh yeah,
Q&A that might
please.
be interesting to answer. We received a few actually.
Yeah.
First one being, prior to applying or starting the program, would there be a possibility of joining an online classroom example to get a feel of how it works, or is that not organized?
Well, example online classroom. Well, there is no typical classroom. I mean, because the Zoom sessions are organized like we have it now, and then the lecturer will be engaged. So I would not be able to provide a pilot on the Zoom lecture, let's say. The classroom itself. So I think you have to have you have a canvas, as you have seen, so all the materials are there. The students that are joining the Flex online MBA program have ability to work on those exercises on their own pace when they have time throughout that week, of course, and attend the Zoom sessions on Monday and Thursday, where there will be a type of the classroom. So it's really like a Zoom session like we have today with all the colleagues that are together with the lecture. So example online classroom, I cannot provide because that means piloting or simulation, and that we are not able to provide to the students. I hope I did answer the question
All
sufficiently.
right. I think so, and if not, then we can always follow
Yeah,
up
exactly.
afterwards. All right, another question was related to the courses. So you showed the overview. Are those courses only given once a year, or are they given multiple times a year for students to join?
Courses are given once a year because we have a carousel, well, type of carousel, well, a bit modified carousel method is that we have students starting in January, and then the other ones are just hopping on the train, let's say, already in April, and then later September, etc., etc. So we wait until we have a full turn of 14 courses, and then they are repeated. Unless there will be some change and we have so many students coming, then we will have to organize it differently. But normally the course is given once a year.
All right, very nice. Then we have one more question relating to the expertise tracks. Someone is very curious to know if they are able to join multiple expertise tracks or if they can only follow one.
Well, there is a possibility to combine online and on campus, because the online expertise track is taking place 2 times a year, as I mentioned. The first 2 courses of one expertise track on sustainability that we have in the Flex MBA is taking place in December 2024. Another one in the end of your program, so somewhere in June 2025. So you would be able to join in June other expertise track. So you come to campus and then you can definitely join. So that's possible. However, combining expertise tracks that are taking place at the same time in Maastricht, that's not possible. So it can be a combination with sustainability online and another chosen expertise track in on campus. What that actually means that you will get extra 12 credits, because we have 4 courses on our expertise track. You will get extra 12 credits, which will be mentioned on your certificate, or actually the how you call it, the Cijferlijst.
The
Actually,
transcript, yeah.
yeah, the transcript. So they will be mentioned there. Um, and that, so that is how we can provide it. But you will be actually doing 4 extra assignments. So, which is of course very good, but it's definitely possible to combine.
All right. Thank you for the answer. Then we have one more question. Someone is curious to know if you are required to use your current employer as a base for the assignments that are given throughout the online MBA.
Well, they are not, you can, you don't have to. I mean, we are very often we are giving the students a possibility to choose what they want. So there is, I think there is no requirement where we say you have to use the employer. The reason why students are often using their employer as the case study, let's say for their assignment, is that because they are familiar with it. But again, there is no a direct demand to do so. So very often it's really a possibility of choosing. And that's something that each lecturer will explain while going a bit more into the final assignment that is given towards the end of each course.
All right, clear. Then we have one more question before you move on to the application process. Someone is asking how the Global Flex Online MBA connects to the previously available Executive MBA that MSM offered.
Well, the remote executive MBA program I am not aware of. We have an executive MBA program which is now phasing out, which where the students are coming to a face-to-face lectures. So each 3 months they were coming for a period of 8 days. So we didn't have a remote executive MBA program. If that is directly the question. So it was executive program face-to-face. We had the online MBA program, and I would say we are phasing out the online MBA program like we had. And I would always say this is a bit of a different modality where we are really focusing more on having a collaboration with the students throughout the week. And those are actually the elements that our online students were missing earlier. So this is like updated version, but a bit of a different modality that we are providing now again. So it's I think much more friendlier in terms of group work, because in the previous online MBA program we didn't have a group work, and here we would providing a student a chance to have one. At evening hours, again, Mondays and Thursdays from 7 to 9, and also to hear a word of the lecture more than we had it previously. So there is more contact, there is more a live contact, let's say, like this through Zoom. And also what is very important is a live contact with your colleagues. Because being an executive and doing your regular job throughout the week and coming Mondays and Thursdays at evening for the Zoom sessions might sound, yeah, it's really a lot. Well, indeed is. Combining study and work is always hard. However, by being detached from those moments of seeing your colleagues and seeing your lectures, it's very hard to pursue the study. So those moments of seeing the lecture, getting the live word on explaining the theory, but also joining and talking with your colleagues is really giving you a good start to pass all the courses, but also to expand your knowledge. And that is, I think, the main reason for many of you being and joining the Flex MBA.
All right, very nice. Thank you, Mariana. I will move on to the application process, and then in the Q&A, we will discuss some more questions that come in the meantime. All right, so of course, since we have 3 different moments to start, everyone might be very curious how the application process actually works. So actually diving into our application process, it's a couple of quite simple steps. It starts by creating a profile in our online application portal. It's campus.msm.nl, where you can create your profile. And then on the left-hand side, you'll be able to select the program that you would like to apply for. In this case, that would be the Global Flex Online MBA. Then within that portal, you will actually have to upload some files, so relevant documents like your CV, previous diplomas that you received, your transcript, proof of English if it's necessary, your motivation letter, all those types of documents that are required in order to complete your application. You can put there in the online portal. Then once all the information is in there, you've filled in everything, your references are in, then you'll be able to pay the application fee, after which it is processed. Once your application is in and it's actually reviewed by the admissions office, they will check whether everything is correct, if they need anything else, and if all is well, then you will receive an invitation for an interview. It's an interview via Zoom, or if you're already near the office, it can also be actually on campus in Maastricht. Which for most people will not be the case. But if you do happen to be around, then that's also always a possibility. Otherwise, the interview is done via Zoom with usually around 2 or 3 colleagues of MSM to really see what your motivation is and discuss all types of questions that you may have as well. After the interview is done, it will also be reviewed and a final decision will be made. If you are admitted, you will be asked to complete some leveling courses. These leveling courses are free of charge, but are mandatory before the start of the program. If you do have a GMAT already with a score of 600 or higher, you can be exempted from taking these courses. So that is definitely something to keep in mind. But if you do have that GMAT already, you should be able to upload it in your online application as well. So that will already be taken care of in that case. So those are the
coming to that, there is one question that you might even answer now. So there are still some questions pending. If you have higher degrees than bachelor, do you provide latest or all in the application process?
I think you should be able to submit multiple. The most important thing to know is that any recognized bachelor degree will make you eligible for this program. So if you do have multiple, you can upload multiple, but I don't think it really matters which one you choose in this case, as long as it is recognized.
Okay, thank you. Vessel,
All
do
right.
we have more slides or is there any more? Because there are still 2 more questions.
Yes, we can move
it's
on
really
to the
nice
Q&A.
to get all the questions. So it's also giving us a nicer feeling that you're doing a good job now, explaining everything about the Global Flex, or we call it just Flex. It's Global Flex Online MBA. It's rather long. If you start the Global Flex Online in January 2024, you can join the first in-person expertise track in June 2024. That's possible. And you can even participate in 2025 in another one. That's also possible. However, that will be discussed on time. So if you choose to join in January, we will explain to all the students how you choose, what is your first expertise track a choice, what is the second choice, what are all the options. And even if there will be a moment that what might happen is that your Flex course might overlap for a couple of days with the time when you have the expertise track on campus, then there is an agreement with the lecturers to have a bit more time to submit your assignment. So that's all something that we can adjust in order to provide students a possibility to join expertise tracks that they do like. Another question was about the typical class sizes and how many students in the Zoom sessions. Well, taking into account that let's say it like this, we don't really have a constraint in terms of the size. We will start hopefully in January. I would say that we can expect that we have 15 to 20 students at the beginning of the program, but throughout the time, the group can grow. So it can be more. There will be a moment when the lecturer will also split the groups, have a different rooms for the students to work in. But I think what is very nice is that we will start in January with the rather smaller groups of 15 to 20, let's say. That's what we, of course, expect. We have a number of students already enrolled. So the groups are, in comparison maybe to some other universities, rather still smaller. They can, of course, grow throughout the time when we get the new participants. If you have a prior technical master degree, do you still need to do the leveling courses? Oh, I don't know that. Vessel, do you know?
I think you would still need to do the leveling courses. Indeed, the leveling courses are mostly revolved around economics, statistics, academic writing, which of course you might have already done in a master's degree. But you would still need to do the leveling courses indeed. I might expect that they could be very easy for you to complete and wouldn't take too much time. And of course, as I mentioned, if you already have a GMAT or related score, then you can be exempted. But I don't think a master's degree in this case provides a complete exemption from these courses.
I think there is another question for you as well, but
Mhm.
there is a participant saying that there is a diploma from English Department University. Is there a need to do GMAT or TOEFL test still?
Very good question. I think generally the GMAT is not required. You can do the leveling courses instead. Related to the English requirements, you can be exempted from taking the language test if either your previous study was in English, or you live or have worked in a country where English is the native language. So for example, if you've worked in the US or in the UK or any other country where English is considered the native language, you can be exempted from it. In that case, you can just upload your degree in the English requirements section, and you can be exempted from taking a language test. Of course, the admissions office might request, for example, a short Duolingo test just to verify if the English level is indeed proficient enough, or if you need any other additional courses. But usually, those are the exemptions that can be made for the English requirement.
Okay, one of the participants also was asking about the submission of certificates or diplomas. Actually, if you have your master or PhD, you can submit that. It doesn't have to be bachelor, because a bachelor would be a requirement to get a master or PhD, let's say. Yeah, so I think you
Yeah.
can submit the latest, highest diploma that you have. And anyway, if our admission department would need additional information, I believe they can come back to participants, right? With a
Yeah,
question or if something is additionally
indeed.
needed. One question is related to your to the recommendations. Is a professional recommendation limited to just past employers, or it can also come from the lecturers or internship supervisors?
Yeah, that's a very good question. And it's very easily answered by saying your recommendations or references are not limited to just professional. So it can indeed be someone that has taught you a specific class throughout your studies. So a lecturer or someone you followed a training with or a short course is also possible. So anyone that has worked together with you in that environment and is able to submit a references will be accepted. So it's not just your boss or your manager in this case.
Okay. Now, there is another question related to English proficiency. Yeah, well, it's of course, those are questions that are very logical. I mean, if you're coming from a country where maybe English is not really the regular spoken language, there is always some clarification needed. If you have done your bachelor's degree in English, do you still prove your level of English proficiency?
Yeah, very good question. I think it might have been answered in the previous one as well. But indeed, if your bachelor degree was fully taught in English, then you can be exempted from taking the language test. As I mentioned, they might request a Duolingo test or any other English short test if they have any doubt. But that usually also becomes very clear in the interview as well if you talk face to face with the employees. But generally, if your bachelor's degree is in English, you should be good.
Okay. There is another question related to the recommendations. When we ask participants to provide the recommendation letters, how that looks like? Is it a name or it's just an email address, or what is your experience there, Vessel? What is needed actually?
Yeah. Very good question. This will also become clear when they fill it in the online application platform, but it basically asks you to give the name and the email address of the person that has to give the reference. And this person will then receive an email from the system asking them to fill in the reference form. So they will have to fill in a form that is automatically linked to the platform. And in this form, there's a set of questions that they can answer related to the person who's applying. So they don't have to write a letter themselves and submit that. They will just receive a request from the system and fill in the form, which is quite easy and straightforward to fill in.
Now, I would know how to apply now, honestly. It's a lot of
You're ready to go.
nice explanations, definitely. Now, I think we came to the end of the webinar, seeing that there are no more questions at the moment. Maybe we give 1 or 2 minutes more if there is a last questions to be asked. Anyway, I think there is a possibility to reach MSM and Vessel, especially, and all the other colleagues, rather easy. Vessel, you mentioned, just to say towards the end, maybe again, how they can receive, what is the process now after following the webinar, what the participants can expect.
Yes, so what they can expect is that they will receive an email from us with the recording of the session and also the presentation that you see here before you. In this presentation, there are also several links. One link is to our YouTube channel, where you can also find past recordings from previous webinars, including some webinars on the Global Flex Online MBA that dive deeper into the curriculum, deeper into the learning environment, as you mentioned, where you showed the learning environment live, and other videos that might help you in the decision-making process as well. And then it will also include a link to contact the recruitment department, which I'm also a part of. So you can contact us very easily by email, but we're also very open and approachable in the sense that we can also schedule a Zoom call with you to talk face-to-face through Zoom to answer any questions about your personal situation or doubts that you might have on the program.
Yeah, I hope we really managed to answer all the questions you had, and also to all the participants that had a question in advance. They did send that to us, and thank you very much on that, because it helped us also see where maybe we need really to provide a more clarification and what is really important for you to know. Well, you will be in a contact with Vessel, I believe, also through emails, and maybe you will have some follow-up sessions. If there will be a content-related question, it will always come to me, and I will do my best to answer it sufficiently, of course. In case I would not see you or hear from you anymore in the course till January, I only can wish you all a very nice afternoon, and to thank you for a very nice questions that you did ask, to thank you for your patience and also interest to MSM and our Global Flex Online MBA program. Maybe some of you I would be seeing in January, because we are already planning a number of meetings and workshops and everything else. So the program is ready to start. So maybe some of you I will be seeing in January. So we start 22nd of January, but some weeks before that, we will have some preparation meetings and getting to know each other with the students as well. So yeah, I can wish you all a very nice afternoon. Well, maybe evening for some of you, but I think afternoon mostly. Hopefully some more sun. Somehow it's coming here in Maastricht, as I can see. And hopefully we see each other, and I wish you a very nice week, working week, end of the week, and a weekend as well. Thank you very much from my side. Vessel, would you like to wrap up?
Yes, on that note, I think we will wrap up this webinar. Thank you so much for joining, to everyone here, and also to you, Mariana. Thank you for your presence and answering all of our questions. If you do have any remaining questions, please contact the recruitment department using the link in the slides that will be provided. And we're looking forward to meeting you and speaking to you in the future. Thank you so much and have a great day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.